Hey everybody, getting ready to go live on the radio. It's Suzette Speak Show. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Teeing up our commercials, and I hope you guys are having a beautiful Friday. It is raining here in South Florida. Oh my goodness. Came into some storms. But I hope you're having a beautiful day. We're gonna get started talking a little bit about the wonderful Democratic National Convention, how much it really created a buzz. And I'm grateful to be able to comment on it and give my listeners an insight of what I saw, what I thought from all the different speakers. And it was really interesting. So we are going to get to it. I'm going to drop here. Let me just make sure I am live everywhere I want to be live. Shout out to everybody watching online. All right, ready to go? Please do hit the like button. Please comment. Please share. It's Fun Friday. Hey. Let me let this drop play and let the people know I'm coming on. Shout out to everybody watching online. Shout out to everybody who's having a beautiful Friday. Grateful to have you here listening in on our next show here. Well, pleasant good afternoon, one and all. Suzette Speak Show live on your radio. Me happy, me happy, me happy. Me can't tell you how I'm so joyous in my spirit. Listen, I watched the last day of the Democratic National Convention. And when I tell you joy was in the room, peace was in the room, excitement was in the room, electricity was in the room. It was an amazing 4-day convention held in Chicago, and it culminated last night with the speeches that were given by several of the Democratic Party's seasoned leaders, rising leaders, but it did culminate with the speech of Kamala Harris's life. She has now accepted the nomination as the Democratic Party's official candidate. All right, we just start top before the drop, but don't worry about it, folks. I am grateful to be here. I'm so excited of all that I saw, all that I heard, all that I witnessed. What's up? Happy Friday, first and foremost, South Florida, Central Florida. How are you? Suzette Speaks in the house. It's a beautiful yet wet again. Listen, I was driving down 95 to get to the studio, and all of a sudden, when I say rain start fall, I don't know if you're driving right now. Listen to me. Please be careful on the roads. There's so much water, and we get a little bit nervous sometimes when the rain, just downpours out of nowhere. But that's South Florida. That's just where we live and how it works. And of course, it was clear all morning. Of course, it was clear all morning, and then all of a sudden, bumps into the wet weather. I drove and then cautiously came up here again, came in the studio for another day, wet as ever. My shirt wet. I didn't have no umbrella. I don't know why I keep taking my umbrella out of my car. That's the first mistake I'm making. But second of all, I had a sweater, but still the back, my shoes, all of it, my skirt. It's just one of those soggy South Florida afternoons when it comes to hurricane season. But I have some news for you. Guess what? We have a tax holiday in Florida. I'm going to tell you about the tax holiday where you can save money right now, save taxes actually on hurricane supplies, right? So I'm going to give you that information so that you know what you can buy that will be tax free. Amen. Amen. Tax free in the short term. We do get a little bit of a tax holiday, several actually. We just had the back to school tax holiday, and now we have the hurricane supplies tax holiday. I want to talk to you about that. But I really, really want to talk to you about everything that we witnessed over the last 4 days. Did you go to a watch party last night? If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, again, the Democrats held an electrifying 4-day convention. Democrats from across the country gathered by the thousands in Chicago to officially nominate Kamala Harris. And she gave the speech of her life last night to accept this nomination. And I want to go over some highlights from the speech. I want to take some of your calls. You can always call me right about now at 850 446 get you right in touch here. But I also want to highlight some of her message because sometimes, again, on the social media platforms, you get the hype and you get the excitement, but she covered a lot of substance, what she thinks about foreign policy, right? We have the wars on our doorstep. What's going on in Israel? What's going on in Gaza? What's going on in Ukraine? What's going on in the Congo? Our brothers and sisters in Haiti still suffering, even though there's been a transitional government placed, I guess, to see the people through to the other side. But we still have a lot of conflict around the world. She talks about how she has a vision for the economy. When we go to the supermarket, I know how it feels, darlings. We all go in and we are squinting our eyes at the receipts and wondering, wait, where did the money go? How did we get to this point? A lot had to do again with pandemic, inflation, and many are accusing big businesses of actually price gouging. There was talk of that, and her possible introduction of laws that will prevent any business, any company from unfairly raising their costs and raising their prices on consumers just for the sake of profit. She spoke about her humble beginnings. If you didn't know, Kamala Harris is the daughter of two immigrants, a young lady who came from India at the age of 19 to fulfill her studies, according to Kamala Harris's speech. And I'm going to play a little bit here. She talked about why her mother came, and her mother said she wanted to find a cure for breast cancer. She wanted to be the top scientist in the United States and decided not to go back after her education was completed. She wanted to continue her studies and continue her goal of finding a cure and working as a top level scientist. And of course, she was introduced by her sister Maya. And looking at Maya again, the family is just a modern day American family, blended family. She talked about not having the gold spoon in our mouth. As she said, raised in Oakland. In Oakland, you're either raised in the hills or the flatlands. She was like, we were most definitely in the flatlands. But she talked about her mother raising her in a village and how much that impacted her. We're going to get to some of the highlights of the speech. I want to play a little bit for you because it's very important that you understand the substance behind why we are doing what we're doing when we go into the voting booth and who ultimately you will trust. Who will you trust with the future of this country? That's the question I have for you listening. But I also wanted to let you know, as I said, we have a tax holiday, a sales tax holiday going on. And if you didn't know, starting actually tomorrow, right? It runs from August 24th through September 6th, right here in the great state of Florida, all over the state. There's a tax-free holiday going on where Floridians can once again purchase hurricane-related items tax-free. And again, they had one right at the beginning of hurricane season, which started June 1st. And they do it again now, which again, the sales tax holiday goes from August 24th through September 6th. So what can you buy, right? This is called the Disaster Preparedness Sales Tax Holiday. That's what it's called, the Disaster Preparedness Sales Tax Holiday. And again, runs from August 24th, starts tomorrow, goes for the week, almost two, because if it started the 24th, let me look at my calendar. Yeah, it goes for 2 weeks from the 24th of August to the 6th of September. We have a sales tax holiday, and the Florida Division of Emergency Management is where this sales tax holiday originates. All right. So again, this is historically, it's been a quiet hurricane season. We're not gonna beg for no hurricane. Jano. Hearts out to, I talked to two friends in Bermuda. They said they fared pretty well with Ernesto, considering, category 1 that hit them last week. I was listening for, any reports of death. The death actually came on the state side from the rip currents in the Carolinas. folks who were swimming that ended up unfortunately losing their lives. Two individuals lost their lives in the Carolina coast due to Hurricane Ernesto. But we've had, knock on wood, knock 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 knock. Knock on the wood for sure. Thank you God for your blessing. I wonder if the hurricane season gonna pick up. I don't know. They're saying that it's been rather slow. Typically, this is the peak activity. Remember, it goes all the way till November 30th. That's when hurricane season ends. Anyway, so can you pick up? Okay, the holiday includes items such as batteries, $50 or less, pet supplies, generators, $3,000 or less, and flashlights, $40 or less. That's it. That's what I'm reading off an NPR article published. But I'm sure there's a list. Let me see if there's a bigger list so I can tell you what you can get tax free. Starting tomorrow, again, there's a sales tax holiday. It's called the Disaster Preparedness Sales Tax Holiday all around Florida, across Florida. If you buy disaster preparedness related items, you can get them tax free. Just wanted to let the people know before we get into the Democratic National Convention. I want to let you know just news you can use. So again, $50 or less when it comes to self-powered radios, two-way radios, gas or diesel fuel tanks, batteries, including rechargeable batteries, listed only. That's including AA, AAA, C cell, D cell, 6 volt, 9 volt. $60 or less on food storage like coolers. This is tax free. You can buy them no tax. I think they said it's going to save the Floridians of about $80 million in this window, starting tomorrow through September 6th, right? Smoke detector, smoke alarm, fire extinguisher, carbon monoxide detectors that are valued, all of these valued $70 or less. Tarpaulin, as we call it, or not tarpaulin, it's tarpaulins, $100 or less. Grown anchor systems, portable pet kennels, pet carriers, flexible waterproof, sheets. Dry dog or cat food weighing 50 pounds or less, over-the-counter pet meds. Okay, wow. Portable generators, as I said, $3,000 or less. $40 or less as far as portable self-powered light sources, meaning light, I guess, lamps or electric lamp and those things like that. Flashlight, pet beds, cat litter. Boy, they do a lot for the cats and the dogs. Reusable ice, leash collar muzzles for pets, pet pads, manual can openers. Here we go, $15 or less. Collapsible or travel size food or water bowls for pets, cat litter, pet disposal. Wow, hamsters. Okay. So everybody going to be good during the hurricane, including our furry friends. But right after this break, we're going to talk more about Kamala Harris and giving the speech of her life. Listen to her, watch this final day hosted by Kerry Washington yesterday. Saw the sights and the sounds, saw the joy, the jubilation. And there's a lot of historical significance about Kamala Harris, Vice President, who's in respect to her name, Vice President Kamala Harris's nomination. But we're going to get into it right after this commercial break. More Suzette Speak Show live right after this. All right, we got things working.
New York, personal injury, Jamaica probate and real estate conveyance. Attorney O'Leary is available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year via email at info@nojohnlegal.com.
All right, let me get stuff queued up. I hope you guys are having a great day. Let me say what's up to my Facebook friends.
University Drive in Lauderdale, 954-358-2020. And in Jamaica at the Dunrobin Plaza, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Suite 10, telephone 876-755-4594. Office hours Mondays through Fridays.
All right, rocking with me on a Friday. Thank you.
Thanks, Flojan Legal Team, for your kind sponsorship to WZPP Radio.
Girl, you know get ready to be entertained. Five-star promotion, along with Brilliant Promotion, brings it to you.
The sexiest party of the year. It's
Soul to Soul. Hosted by Clever Wayne from New York City, Steve National from New York City, Super Sam, and Sweet and Sam. Sunday, September 1st, Labor Day weekend at the Readiness Center in Miramar. For ticket info and table packages, 954-226-8530. CaribTix.com/Soul to Soul 24. Florida, this Labor Day, September 2nd, the Caribbean Music Festival Chug-It comes to Miramar Readiness Center. Chug-It all night, plus the widest variety of mixed drinks inclusive. Chug-It all night Bikini Fest. Ladies tickets tickets are 2 for 1, so you can. Tickets online at shuggetfestival.com. Thanks, Tony, for your support.
Get ready for the 2024 edition of Taste of Lauderdale Lakes, presented by the City of Lauderdale Lakes. Join us on September 14th from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Vincent Tourist Memorial Park for an unforgettable evening of culinary delights and artistic experiences. Enjoy delicious food and beverage tastings, live music, art displays, and live painting. Plus, savor exclusive mixology creations by Uncle Nearest. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite. General admission for $20 or all access for $40. Taste the best of Lauderdale Lakes. Thank you, Lauderdale Lakes, for your support of this station.
Hello, Lauder here. Former City Commissioner Richard Campbell is running again for Lauderdale City Commissioner. His motto is giving back to the community. Before earning a master's in physical therapy from Nova Southern University, he
What's
received
up,
a bachelor's
y'all?
degree in
Glad to
political
see
science from the
you.
Hunter College in New York City for 30 years. Richard Campbell has
You guys can hear all the commercials. And I appreciate you hanging with me on this Friday. Drop a comment. What's up, Xavier? Good to see you, brother. How you doing? Glad you're here. I'm hanging in there for some, good commentary, hopefully, and good conversation. Hopefully, I can get my people to call in. We'll see if they actually do. Here's the number if anybody wants to call in. Let me see if I can put it up. But I appreciate you. Thanks for watching.
Shop for all your auto needs.
Couple more commercials and then we're back live. Hit the like button, please comment. Let me know if you watched the DNC. Let me know what you thought about Kamala's speech. What you thought about some of the other presenters. It was a great night, and I'm gonna highlight some of the what I thought was one of some of the more important parts. And I'm working. What you see me doing is trying to set up the YouTube clips while we wait. Almost done with the commercial.
Can be reached at 561-929-5234 or email at Teddy Upholstery.
And I want to get Kamala's nieces.
Teddy Upholstery is located at
Pink was so good too. I'm gonna try to finish with Pink.
Street Market.
thank you for
But yeah,
your
we're
support
here
to this radio station.
rocking it. Here we go. Hey everybody, good afternoon and welcome back. This is Suzette Speaks on your radio dial. I appreciate you being with me on this wet and soggy South Florida Friday. Yes, we're having a good time no matter what. God's blessing upon the land. Rain is falling yet, but we are still joyous and grateful around here. This is Voice of the Caribbean, I Radio. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Suzette Speaks. You can catch me every Thursday and Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. I might stay a little longer today, but I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful if you are enjoying the conversation and you like what you are hearing. Actually, let me turn on the monitor that kind of load. That look better. Yeah. Sound better? Yeah. So I'm grateful that you're here. We have some conversations to be had for sure. There are so many of us that are, listening to what's going on in the politics, looking around what's going on, trying to figure out where we fit in this American story. And I think we saw a great example yesterday at the Democratic National Convention. Really, we saw a great example throughout the week, honestly, of what a contrast there is between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. I think there's a big contrast. I think sometimes we want to act like all parties are created equal. But I think just the indications that we saw throughout this evening of celebration, of sheer American joy and pride and patriotism of a different vein than what we saw at the Republican National Committee or during the Republican National Convention, rather. And I think what I learned a lot throughout watching this is that the Democrats, first of all, we need to give a shout out to all the people that helped plan this convention. I do believe there was an African-American woman at the top. You can just tell that she was the head of the planning committee. They had another gentleman who was the producer of the show, that is how to arrange the different acts, and of course bringing in and bringing out the videos and editing what they look like. But the most joyous ending of a most joyous week is really what it was. And then at this convention, the main order of business is to nominate your party's nominee, right? Which was to officially nominate Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States, to run as the Democratic candidate for president officially, as well as to nominate and officially declare Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota, to be her vice presidential nominee. So when we looked at all of the events throughout the week, there were speakers, Bill Clinton. I talked a little bit about what Michelle Obama had to say, what Barack Obama had to say yesterday. If you caught the show, and the list of speakers is just too many to name. The Democrats have a deep bench. Hello, somebody. Looking at the contrast from the Republican convention a couple of weeks ago, how much more diverse, how much more enlightened, how much more unified. Boy, the Democrats got a new breath of life. Let me tell you, the excitement, the electricity. The day 4 was hosted by or emceed by Kerry Washington, again, an actress who also happens to have Caribbean roots. Y'all knew that, Kerry Washington? And she was phenomenal as the MC for the day 4. And she laid so many different, beautifully relayed so many different stories about the vice president, whose job it was basically during day 4. I don't know why they keep saying it was for her to introduce, or I would say more reintroduce herself to the American public, because there are still people that say they don't know who Kamala Harris is or what she stands for. But during a 40-minute speech where she finally officially became the Democratic nominee for president, she outlined her personal story, her mom being an Indian immigrant, her dad being an immigrant from the Caribbean, from Jamaica, and what type of upbringing she had, being raised primarily by a single mother. Her parents were together, I think, until she said she was in elementary school, and then their marriage dissolved, and she went with her mom to live with her mom in the community of people which her mom entrusted to help raise her, and the values that were instilled by her mom, and the journey that she began into public service, and why she began her public service was that a childhood friend of hers was facing abuse, right, from a family member. And when she told Kamala about the abuse that her stepfather was perpetrating, Kamala said, "Hey, you have to come stay with me right away." She gave a very personal testimony, as well as the lady who at the time was her best friend from high school, who they are still friends. And she talked about how Kamala jumped into action and said, "No, no, 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 you're gonna have to come stay with me." And she said from that moment forward, she thought about how was she going to use her gift to go out there and change the world. And she thought from that point on that she wanted to be a lawyer. She wanted to go ahead and fight for those like her friend, those people who were victimized by people who were, trusted with their well-being, and how she could make a difference as an attorney. She went to law school. And there's more to her story. I'm going to cut that because I want to pivot a little bit to some of the other speakers. And I want to talk about Al Sharpton. The Reverend Al Sharpton made a presentation that I thought was so moving and brought home some of the issues that we have with why many people are very disgusted even by the idea of a second Trump term, because of something called the Central Park Five, now known as the Exonerated Five. And if you guys don't know this story, I encourage you to Google it and look it up. 5 young men were falsely accused of assault of a woman who ended up becoming exonerated, right? It was a lie. And their teenage lives were turned upside down. And one Mr. Donald Trump played a role in the Central Park Five because it had captured the nation's attention. If you guys were around them time there in New York, you remember. And Mr. Donald Trump at that time took out a full-page ad in the New York Times advocating for the death of these young men who ended up being innocent. Reverend Al Sharpton had these 5 survivors, now called the Central were called the Central Park Five, now called the Exonerated Five. And he brought them on stage just to make a very interesting and poignant, really relevant to this discussion about who is going to be their next president and who deserves to get your vote. I'm going to play a little bit of Al Sharpton's speech so you can hear for yourself. I also want to play a little bit of Kamala Harris's speech so you can understand where she came from, what she plans to do. And it's not just bluster and it's not just hype. Is her also talking about what her plans are as a leader. I mean, it was a serious speech, y'all. When we done listen, Mr. The conversation has shifted when it comes to who is actually qualified. There are people that said she had to prove that she was qualified to be commander in chief. What are you talking about? I saw the attorney general. I saw the United States senator. I saw the prosecutor while she was moving through her plans, her vision for this country. It was quite moving. We're going to play a little bit of, but first I want to get to the Central Park Five, now called the Exonerated Five. But also wanted to tell you the viewership has not gone down. 20 million plus people every single night this week were watching it. Were you one of them? Were you one of them tuned in? 20 plus million. The Republicans did not even get that the first night, and it gone down for them. I think they had like 13 million for the same nights and went lower and lower. The Democrats held at 20 plus million actively watching. That's not including, that's who watched on TV, like me. There were people who were at watch parties all across this area. I saw people posted from the African American Research Library up in Fort Lauderdale. I saw people post from Smitty's Woods Crunk. People was posting from Wynwood. There were gatherings all over this country. People getting together to witness history. People getting together to see how they can now jump on board and do the work, as Michelle Obama said. Let me play some of Al Sharpton. Let me see if we can get the computer up. Okay. Sorry for the late start today. What happened is we got hit by lightning, so we had to reboot everything. I appreciate you sticking and staying. This is Suzette Speaks Show, live every Thursday and Friday on Voice of the Caribbean, INI Radio. But we're going to talk a little bit more about the Democratic National Convention, where VP Kamala Harris took the stage last night, made her case directly to the American people, reintroduce herself. I see you online. I see your commentary, John Smith. If you're watching me on the Facebook side, if you're watching me on the YouTube side, shout out to you. But let's go ahead and get into this clip, some of what Al Sharpton had to say, and then he brought up the Central Park Five. Let me see if I can go ahead and play it.
The amount of money they have. We are here because of the fought and suffered for us, and we vow tonight we won't go back. This November, we will go forward to fulfill. And in Psalms it says, we've may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. We've enjoyed January 6th. We've enjoyed conspiracy theory. We've enjoyed lies and areas of darkness. But if we stay together, black, white, Latina, Asian, Indian American, if we stay together, joy.
So that's what Al Sharpton had to say when he took the stage and introduced the Central Park Five, now known as Exonerated Five. And there are so many people that were touched by his next move, which was to bring up those who had now been exonerated. And again, these are young men that were crucified in the public by Donald Trump to his words in his article that he published in the New York Times was that they should be put to the death penalty, and it ended up that they were actually not guilty. So I want to play a little bit more of that piece of Al Sharpton's speech, and want to get your thoughts on what you had to say, what he has to say He brought them up, and then let me give you a little bit of that clip so you can hear for yourself.
Them, then they were known as the Central Park Five. Now they're the Exonerated Five. Raymond Santana, Kevin Richardson, Yusef Salam, Corey Rice, the Exonerated Five.
And as you can hear, the crowd was well moved, deeply moved. The applause went on and on for the Exonerated Five and what they emblematically mean to the future and how they symbolize the future, how we're not going back. And that was the chant that you heard all the time throughout yesterday's day 4 of the Democratic National Convention. It's Suzette Speaks live on your radio talking about what happened and how this jubilant affair, this amazingly electrifying night from speaker to speaker, it built and built until it gave us the saw the stage given to Kamala Harris as she officially accepted the nomination of the party to become their nominee for president, the first ever woman president, the first ever president of Southeast Asian descent, Indian American descent, Caribbean American descent. And seeing this moment and how many people in this got to witness it, 20 million plus people watching. The people also that is included, the people in attendance there, they said they had to lock the doors of the United Center. It was overflowing with people. They had delegates that weren't able to get inside because the floor was actually full. And hearing from Madam Vice President, I want to play a couple of her introductory parts of her speech because it was so moving for her to explain to the American people who exactly she is, since everybody wants to know. And I don't know why we're acting as if she hasn't introduced herself, but there are still people, honestly, that don't know, quote unquote, much about her. So she had to use the opportunity. I appreciate the fact that she was not dwelling on just her, but people want to limit her in terms of her gender, her so-called race or ethnicity. She talked about her American experience, and I think there's so many people who could find themselves inside of her story, the type of family she came from, how she grew up, moving a lot, she said, because her parents were professors and they were going to different colleges to teach, etc. She said that she remembers getting in that van, packing up and going to the next location where her parents moved to, right? Growing up in a tight-knit family where, again, her father and her mother ended up separating when she was little, when she was like in elementary school. But how she grew up and what values she had that was instilled into her by her parents. Her father telling her, "Run, baby, don't stop. Always go after what you want." Her mom let her know, and you could do anything. Imagine if every child had that type of upbringing. And again, we like to say, oh, we have to come from a certain type of home and make a certain type of money for our children to, thrive. No, we have to have love, character, and principles in our homes. That's what allows children to thrive. I want her to say it, for herself, and I want you guys to listen to some of her introductory speeches. This is again a discussion on Suzette Speak Show Live of the DNC, the Democratic National Convention. It concluded last night, day 4, when Vice President Kamala Harris officially accepted the party's nomination in a 40-minute speech. You can look it up for yourself on YouTube. Very interesting, lots of substance, not flashy. She wore a full black. I said, all right, the full black, let's go. Like she was ready to do business. The standing ovation that she got coming into the arena. She had to keep saying, we got to get to business. We got to get to business. And it's really, really important that we talk about this and that we understand where she's coming from and her agenda. I appreciate very much you guys watching and listening. Again, you can catch me every Thursday and Friday from 1 to 2. Let's listen to Kamala Harris and some of her speech from the Democratic National Convention.
Respect and compassion. My mother was a brilliant, 5-foot-tall, brown woman with an accent. And as the eldest child, she was tough.
I have to go on and off so that my video don't get marked.
Complain about injustice, but do something about it.
Hold on, the vice president quoting her mom there. This is Suzette Speak Show, listening to some of the speech Kamala Harris gave last night.
Made sure that we learned about civil rights leaders, including the lawyers like Thurgood Marshall and Constance Baker Motley. About my best friend Wanda. She was sad at school.
Listen, not a dry eye in the room when she was talking about her friend Wanda and how it impacted her so very much when in high school, Vice President Kamala Harris's best friend was experiencing abuse and how that turned her into the woman that we see or pivoted her towards the career of law and her wanting to make a difference in society, so much so that she decided to help out her friend and tell her friend, no, you can't go home. You have to stay with me because it's not safe for you at your house. And that story has been a kind of indication of the mindset of a young Kamala Harris, and even now who she still remains in terms of her go get it, go do something about it, don't talk about it, be about it attitude in terms of how she sees herself in service of other people. I think that was a big theme difference from the Republicans' convention a few weeks ago to what we saw all week. Again, we're talking about the Democratic National Convention that has just concluded last night. If you were at a watch party, shout out to you. If you were in Fort Lauderdale, up in Fort Lauderdale, watching at the African American Research Library or watching at the Smitty's watering hole, excuse me, Smitty's Wings. I know, but everybody knows that watering hole on 6th Street, or if you were in Wynwood watching it, or across the state. There were various watch parties from Orlando to across the country. People got together who are in support of the Harris Walz administration and sat together and observed history. I'm like, no matter what you think of it, no matter who you end up voting for, this was definitely history. The first time a woman of color, a woman of the Caribbean and of Asia, a young woman has had the opportunity and received the nomination officially of a major party in the United States, the Democratic Party. No matter what happens in November, this, in fact, is history. I wanted to play a little bit of her nieces. I'm gonna have to take a quick break, but make sure you stick and stay. I'll have a little bit more OT, a little extra time going on today before Lisa B. But yeah, I really want you guys to listen to what she's saying. The other speech, besides Al Sharpton bringing up the exonerated five, the other speech that I thought was really moving was D.L. Hughley. I'm thinking about everything he said. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play it on the radio, y'all, because D.L. Hughley is a comedian who was very anti Kamala Harris, saying, oh, she put black men in jail and all of this stuff. And Kamala Harris had a one-on-one with D.L. Hughley and actually gave him the facts about what program she put in to try to keep black men out of prison, to try to get black men back to work after they were incarcerated, and how her record has been distorted and so much lies have been, or falsehoods, let me not say lie, that is not a nice word, falsehoods have been spread about her when it comes to imprisoning quote unquote black men. No, D.L. Hughley got on the stage at the Democratic National Convention in front of the world yesterday and apologized and said he was wrong about Kamala Harris. Let me listen to it when we go into this break and see if it's clean enough. I don't know. I don't want to get a radio strike here from my wonderful brethren of the Voice of the Caribbean night radio. I don't want to mash up the station, yeah? But I need us to realize there's a lot of misinformation and attacks going on. I want to play a little bit of her nieces, her beautiful grandnieces, her niece children, basically. Our niece Mina Harris has two beautiful girls that took the stage alongside Kerry Washington, who was emceeing the proceedings where Kamala Harris last night officially accepted the nomination of the Democratic Party. We've been listening to some of her speech. We've been listening to some of our other speeches and other speeches of the night. And I want to get your feedback. I think, again, I might have a little extra time today. Thank you for tuning in Suzette Speak Show live.
Fort Lauderdale.
Flow Jam Legal provides legal services in areas of immigration, family law, personal injury, Jamaica probate, and real estate conveyance. Attorney openly is available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year via email at info@flowjamlegal.com, 600 South Andrews Avenue, Suite 405 in Fort Lauderdale, and 4727 North University Drive in Lauderdale, 954-358-2020. And in Jamaica at the Dunrobin Plaza, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, telephone 876-755-4594.
Wagwan Action Kwame, big up yourself. Wagwan.
And Saturdays by appointment. Thanks, Flow Jam Legal Team, for your kind sponsorship to WZEB Radio.
Get ready to be entertained with 5-star promotions along with Brilliant Promotion. Brings it
See if I
to
can actually do a little bit
Sexiest
more.
party of the year. It's
Soul to Soul. Music like Glamour Wayne from New York City, Steve Ashford from New York City, Super Sound, and Sweetness Sound. Sunday, September 1st, Labor Day weekend at the Readiness Center.
I'm going to play a little D.L. Hughley. I hope I don't get in trouble. I'm gonna play the niece them first. I'm gonna play the. I'm gonna play a little of her nieces first before I get to.
Taking place in Jamaica, featuring Marcia Griffiths, Itana, Dwayne Stevenson, and singing melody. That's Saturday, August the 31st, celebrating the king of reggae bassline at the Randy Williams Entertainment Center in Kingston, Jamaica. It's open at 6 p.m. showtime, 8 p.m. Tickets are available at brownie.aitix.com. That's AITIX.com. The Voice of the Caribbean is a proud sponsor of this event. See you in Jamaica.
Florida, this Labor Day,
We got a
September
lot of commercials.
Music Festival Shogget comes to Miramar Readiness Center. Shogget all night.
That's what they're listening to. All the commercials. Do you guys want to hear the commercials?
Online while you can. Tickets online at shoggetfestival.com. Thanks, Tommy, for your support.
Home is always in your heart. But when you can't go back to Jamaica, JA come to you. Flow plans are now available at your Flow Top-Up store. Make the connections count. 7, 15, or 30-day plan at your Flow Top-Up store. And they get data, TikTok, unlimited social media, unlimited YouTube, unlimited Spotify, and unlimited local calls. Keep the connections flowing. Conditions apply.
Thank you for your contribution to this radio station.
Serving you for over 21 years. And Pembroke Pines, DonnasCaribbean.com for more information on dining. For weekend brunch, South.
Start taking the right steps and manage your BP.org. Brought to you by the American Heart.
Looking for an orthodontist in Coral Springs? Look no further than Dr. Sean Smith and his team at SLS Orthodontics. At SLS Orthodontics, our state-of-the-art office offers braces, clear aligners, sleep appliances, teeth.
Sorry, commercials playing, guys. Sorry, commercials. Sorry.
Listings and purchases, foreclosures, investment properties, rentals, and short sale negotiations, as well as all types of real estate services. AR1 State of the Art Real Estate is located at 301 East Commercial Boulevard in Oakland Park or online at ar1realestate.com. Abdullah Richards can be reached on his direct line at 954-548-1799 or at the office 954-958-9881. Thanks, AR1 State of the Art Real Estate, for your support of this state.
I am Commissioner Denise Seagrass of the Vibe.
Just a few more commercials. I didn't realize I was on for a little bit, but I'm going to play a little bit more about this amazing night, the Democratic National Committee convention. Let me see one more thing.